And Kanye West briefly made an appearance in the Sean Diddy Combs trial today. The rapper arrived with one of Combs' sons and told ABC News he was there to support Combs.
Yeah, well, Diane, I can tell you that we saw Kanye West walk into the courthouse here right behind us this morning, and our team got a chance to ask him, are you here in support of Combs? He nodded his head. He said yes. He then dropped off his electronics like all of us have to do going into federal court. He went into an overflow room to watch a little bit of testimony. He was just there for about 10 minutes before he then left.
It seemed like that, to me, if Kanye West is paying workers to have in front of him and his friends, ain't that trafficking?
Hello, Kanye West. Kanye, why'd you show up today? Is he about testifying?
Why are you here?
Kanye, who are you in support of?
Gene Deal, the former bodyguard to scene Diddy Combs, has been raising red flags for years. And now, in the middle of Diddy's federal trial, none other than Kanye West, now known as Ye, shows up to support him in person. But this is not just about a surprise courtroom visit. This is about what Gene has been trying to warn us about: the deep, strange, and possibly dangerous connections behind the glitz and glamour of fame. So let us get into it, because the story of Kanye, Diddy, and Gene Deal is a lot darker than most people realize. Gene Deal is not just some bitter former employee. He was Diddy's right-hand man during the golden era of Bad Boy Records. He was in the background of countless iconic moments, from celebrity parties to private business meetings the public never saw. But in the last few years, Gene has taken a completely different path. He has gone public. He has spoken about what really happened behind the scenes, and a lot of people did not want to hear it.
And I believe the federal government set him up on this one, bro, is that they found the tape in Diddy's house. Well, Diddy found the tape in his house. Did you hear about that?
Nah, I ain't hear about that. Tell me about that.
After they did the raid and everything in one of his house, he found the tape. No, he found the phone. He found the phone in his house. After they did a raid in his house, he found one of the phones, and he said that, yo, he called Christine Cohen. This is why she could be a co-conspirator too. He called her and said, yo, they left a phone, and this phone got a lot of stuff on it. Now, when they had a warrant for his whole video and his phones and all this stuff like that, you're supposed to turn everything over. You're supposed to turn everything over. He didn't turn it over. So now, what is he doing? He obstructing justice. The prosecution was trying to get that in, and because he had a phone call. And this had to do with that September the 9th, what was, I said it was the 6-9, that phone. This had something to do with that. So now, they was trying to get that tape that he had said in his own words to Christine Cohen, that he found the phone, like they had left the phone, or I believe they planted the phone, bro. They put the phone there and left the phone there, just in case. There's no way they gonna raid your whole house. They gonna turn over everything and leave one phone, and then he found the phone. I think they was trying to bag him then. I really think they was trying to bag him. I think they was trying to bag him on that. So I believe that they were trying to get at him in a way whereas that if they lose the case, they could come up and say, yo, listen here. He was obstructing justice because he never turned over the tape. He never turned over the phone, and we got proof he had the phone. Listen to this. But the judge wouldn't let it in. It was for some reason from case law that the judge didn't let it in. If the judge had to let that in, that's obstruction of justice, plain and simple right there. That was real big. That was a big thing that happened this week. And I don't understand why the judge did not let that conversation with him and Christine. And the lawyers was trying to say, that was client and attorney privilege information, but it wasn't. You understand? Because he called his personal assistant first. He didn't call his lawyer about it, and told his personal assistant about the stuff that was on there. So they let that rock, and that's one of the things that the defense won this week. The defense won this week, and it was crazy.
Damn, so you think they was trying to line him up then?
Yo, man, if you ever been in, well, I ain't gonna say you, but I've been in where you search somebody's house, they find everything, bro.
He has described private gatherings that did not feel right. He has talked about a world where silence was bought, loyalty was demanded, and once you were inside, you could not just walk away. Whether it was through subtle influence or outright intimidation, Gene claims that many of the stars we idolize were pulled into situations they could not escape from, and he has been especially vocal about one thing. Some of the people around Diddy, artists, assistants, and yes, even celebrities like Ye, might have made silent deals they are too afraid to admit. So when Kanye West or Ye shows up at the Manhattan courthouse where Diddy's trial is happening, people take notice. He is dressed in all white, wearing shades, and walking in with quiet confidence. But what is strange is that he does not go into the main courtroom. Instead, he is sent to a separate room to watch the trial on a monitor, away from the press and away from the jury, but still present. He sits there briefly, joined by Diddy's son, Christian Combs, before quietly leaving after a short time. The message is loud and clear. Even if he could not get inside, Ye wanted to be seen. He wanted people to know he was standing with Diddy during one of the most serious trials of the decade. That was not random, that was calculated.
The first time we've seen any of Diddy's celebrity friends in court supporting him, it did not go exactly as Kanye planned, but here was his big entrance.
The box sit right here in the middle.
Kanye West.
No,
Still people celebrating him, which we always talk about as being kind of weird with the things he has espoused, but there he is walking in all in white, strolling into the courthouse. Bianca not with him, interesting, because we do know she is in New York with him, but she did not go to the courthouse. And there you see King Combs greeting him outside to go into the courtroom. Now, his plan clearly is to go in and support Diddy. And we know that they're close. Just a few months ago, remember Kanye dropped a song that featured clips of a prison conversation he'd had with Diddy.
And the idea being essentially that the jury would see him there in support.
And that somehow that would help, although we'll get into whether or not it helps or hurts. We saw the chaos outside of court as he went in, but what happened inside? Our producer, Jacob Wasserman, is actually in court. He's been in the overflow room. What did you see, Jacob? Was there any commotion inside the court? Were people aware that Kanye was coming?
The best way I can compare it is like a big game of hide and go seek. So I was outside when Kanye first came in, and he goes in, and it sounds like he came in with Christian Combs and Donaldson, one of Diddy's attorneys. I guess we caught that on video. I went inside shortly afterwards. Of course, I go up to the courtroom because I think that's where Kanye is going. I go up, everyone's, oh my gosh, where's Kanye? Where's Kanye? Apparently, he never even made it inside. He didn't reach the 26th floor. One of my colleagues who's inside said that basically they were siloed off this entire time, and Kanye wasn't much of a topic inside the courtroom. I usually go to the 2 floors below, which is the overflow room, which is essentially like watching the court case happen on a big TV screen, and everyone thought he was going to come in there. So we go down, and it's like bedlam. Everyone is coming in and out every 5 seconds. They're upping security. At one point, they cleared off a bench in the back and had security standing in front of it. And it sounded like that he was going to come in and sit on that bench and watch it with the rest of us. But one of our PAs, who's also inside the courtroom, went on with a bunch of other journalists to kind of see, where is Kanye? Because that's what everyone was thinking. Is he in the cafeteria? Is he coming up here? Did he already leave? And what we learned based off talking with several people is it sounds like he was given his own a private room, basically his own overflow room, which he was in for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then I assume was like, hey, I didn't come here to be in this private room by myself. I wanted to show face for Diddy and, to the public. And then eventually he left right after. So it was only there for a short period of time. And I'm not sure if other people got access to the overflow room that he was in, but if they did, it wasn't many.
Right. So the jurors never saw him, and Diddy never saw him.
Right. So
no,
no.
Yeah. So the jurors never saw him. The one thing I want to mention is, as I was saying, how I was in the overflow room and everyone's coming in and out, and it's this whole commotion. Nicole Westmoreland, one of Diddy's attorneys, came in and did a sweep, and she was looking, being like, "Oh, is Kanye here?" And eventually left. But it was just kind of hilarious, all these characters that were coming in and out, almost like, again, a big game of hide and go seek. We were all looking for where Kanye was. He apparently was in this overflow room for only a few minutes and headed out.
Ye and Diddy have a long history. They have worked together, shared stages, appeared at each other's events, and moved in similar social circles. At one point, Ye even referred to Diddy as a role model, someone who blazed a trail in business and culture. But that admiration may have come with strings.
Hey guys, Aaron Katursky here from ABC. As if the trial of Sean Combs needed more spectacle, in walked Kanye West. He was inside for about 20 minutes. He didn't get into the courtroom. The guards made him go through security just like everybody else. He had to check his phone. And then he was taken up to the 24th floor to the overflow room. Now, I'm not sure if he didn't like it, didn't think it was the right vantage point for him, but he was only in there for a matter of minutes until he walked right back out. He was wearing this white, maybe canvas suit, and he told us that he was here to support Sean Combs. We're not sure that Combs' legal team wants him here for support or if he came on his own volition, but it certainly was a moment. While testimony was going on from Sean Combs' former assistant, a guy named Jonathan Perez, who was with him from 2021 to 2024, said he set up hotel nights that he referred to as king nights, brought the lights, brought the Astroglide, brought the baby oil. The jury saw a lot of pictures today, too, of things seized from Combs' Los Angeles mansion. 900 bottles of Astroglide lubricant. According to the HSI agent on the witness stand, the jury saw boxes of it all stacked up in Combs' garage.
We were in one of the overflow floors and someone had came up and said, hey, Kanye West is here. He's trying to get into court. Mm-hmm. I assumed that they were just going to figure it out because it's Kanye West. Obviously, he's here to support Diddy, so he wants to sit with the family. He had met Christian when he got there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it was, there's either two things. There's a family list that's like a pre-set list. Right. Also, they only have a certain number of people that you can have in that main courtroom. Between one of those two things, he was not able to go in that room, so they were going to put him in his own overflow room, but it was causing too much chaos.
Gene Deal has hinted for years that people in Diddy's circle were exposed to more than just music and money. He suggested that behind the public friendship there was a deeper expectation, one that involved loyalty and silence. So when Ye shows up during a high-stakes trial, it is not just a friendly gesture. It raises real questions about what is being protected and why. Gene's interviews have included some uncomfortable claims. He has described nights where things went too far, where private rooms were set up for activities that had nothing to do with music. He has spoken about how assistants and staff were given orders to coordinate events that served personal agendas. And most importantly, he said this did not just affect unknown people. Big names were involved, names that are still in headlines today.
Kanye West, he would be facing trafficking charges if it was anywhere else. But in Vegas, I don't think it's, I think it's legal in Vegas, bro. So he may not have an issue, he may not have a problem. But does he have a license to do it? That's another thing. So if the federal government wants you, they'll figure out some kind of way to get you. But it was just so funny that how was his name or his likeness or whatever was mentioned one day, and then the next day he's up in court. That was crazy. Well, he was somewhat of a protege of Diddy's back in the day, even though he was working with, what you call that motherfucker? Rockefeller, whatever that was. Rockefeller, even though he was working with that, he was a protege of Diddy. He liked what Diddy did and everything like that. So he used to hang out, go to the parties, all that stuff like that. And I'm not saying no freak off parties, just the regular parties. He wanted to be known. So, you know, he was doing music for everybody, and he was doing music for Diddy. So I could see him being a supporter, but then when they all got big and started getting a lot of money and everything like that, they started going at each other crazy. You understand? And he felt like that because I believe Puff was the one probably introduced him to Kim Kardashian, if I'm not mistaken. I think Puff had something to do with him getting with Kim Kardashian. You know what I'm saying? Because she used to mess with a couple of dudes, a dude from BMF first, and she was around. So I would presume that Kim and Kanye West was all right back in the day. And then when they started getting money and they started going at each other and stuff like that, and then Kanye fell out with the Kardashians, and none of the people that he thought was supposed to be cool with him helped him. So he just started going at everybody. So it was strange after that whole drink trap. And then, you know, when Diddy got arrested, he did say some things because the government, he may look at the fact that government may come after him. So he may become an ally of Diddy's, but everybody that's gonna be around him gonna go down, man. This crazy, man. You gotta realize that he has no way out of this, bro. He has no way out of this. It either has to be a mistrial or, but then if it's a mistrial, they still go back to the drawing board. You understand? That don't mean he gets out of jail. They just do another trial date. So I believe, and my prediction on this, that was just all show for Kanye to come up in there. You understand? The jurors, if you know anything about the jury and having Kanye to support you, I don't even think that's a good thing. But maybe they think it is. It's gonna, you know, throw something, you know, some kind of public opinion Diddy's way. It's stupid. That would be one of the last persons I would have coming up there to support me, knowing his relationship with the Jewish population. The stuff that he said about the Jewish population. Why would you have that man come up in the court and say anything in your behalf?
And the woman that testified that Kanye, he was a part of one of Diddy freak-offs, this is the same woman that's a baby mom of a famous rapper, right?
Yeah, it's Jane Doe. You can't mention her name.
He has not always named those people directly, but his implications are very clear. Some of the biggest stars in hip-hop and R&B may have gotten caught up in situations they did not fully understand until it was too late. So when Gene saw Kanye show up for Diddy's trial, you can imagine what went through his mind. This is not just another guest appearance. It could be the sign of a long-standing arrangement that is finally coming into the light. Meanwhile, inside the courtroom, the testimonies have been shocking. Diddy's exes, former artists, and assistants have all come forward with claims that point to an ugly reality. From unusual aliases used to book hotel rooms to personal aides being told to arrange questionable meetups, it paints a picture of someone who was not just partying, but managing a lifestyle behind closed doors.
CBS News 24/7, depending on our reporters in the courtroom and also these courtroom sketches. More testimony underway this morning in the trafficking and racketeering trial against disgraced hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. So right now we're hearing again from a special agent with the U.S. Attorney's Office, specifically in the very tough, historically, Southern District of New York. She is walking the jury through records related to Combs' hotel stays in Los Angeles. So let's bring in CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman, stepping out of that courtroom to talk to us live outside the courthouse. Some pretty fascinating moments there. The jury having to look at some hard evidence.
Reed, that's absolutely right. This jury is finally seeing videos of the freak-offs, these encounters that Sean Combs and his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura would have with other men. So they were shown them by the prosecution yesterday, and they're watching these in a way where we don't know exactly what they're seeing. They're wearing headphones in the courtroom. There are blinders on their screens. And now the defense is actually, during cross-examination, also showing them other portions of these videos because each side sees this as evidence in a very different way. The prosecution views this as evidence of the coercion of the alleged trafficking that was going on here, whereas the defense wants to show that these were consensual encounters, even if maybe some view them as unorthodox. It's also worth noting that this morning the judge reprimanded both parties. Excuse me, Reed. There was an article that came out that had some information from a sealed proceeding, and he's very upset about this. He says it's a violation. Both parties said they didn't know what was going on. He says someone is lying, and he's going to investigate because information from a sealed proceeding is not supposed to leave his chamber.
Witnesses spoke of manipulated relationships, strange routines, and total control over people's movements. These are not things that happen by accident. They happen in carefully crafted environments, the kind of environments that Gene Deal described long before this trial even started. And then there is Kid Cudi, another major name drawn into this situation. He testified about a frightening moment where a Molotov cocktail was thrown at his car after a fallout with Diddy. He said Diddy acted like it never happened, brushing it off as if it was beneath him. That is the kind of fear Gene talked about. The kind where even successful artists think twice about speaking up, because power, wealth, and reputation can silence even the loudest voices.
Rapper Kid Cudi is now on the stand in the Sean Diddy Combs trafficking and racketeering trial. He reportedly had a brief relationship with Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura nearly 15 years ago. His testimony follows George Kaplan, a former employee of Combs who was granted immunity in exchange for his testimony. He told jurors about the elaborate process of setting up hotel rooms for what prosecutors allege were drug-fueled parties called freak-offs. Combs denies all of the allegations against him and says all encounters were consensual. Let's bring in ABC's Rena Roy alongside contributor and criminal defense attorney Bernarda Villalona, live outside the courthouse there. And Rena, just set the scene for us. What is the latest from court right now?
Well, Alex, we saw Kid Cudi walk into the courthouse this morning with a bit of swagger, a black leather jacket, wearing jeans, smoking a cigarette. As you said, he is now on the stand now, and he's already talking about some of the threats that he says he faced while he was in a relationship with Cassie Ventura back in 2011, including one time that he says Cassie called to alert him that Sean Combs had broken into his Los Angeles home. He says that he raced over there to try and confront Combs so that when he got there, Combs was gone. He said some things had been tampered with. His dog seemed startled. He was locked in the bathroom. So he called police to file a break-in report. And he's also talking about a time from January of 2012 when he says his car was set on fire with a Molotov cocktail in his Los Angeles driveway. Just last week, Ventura testified that Sean Combs had threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car because he had found out about their relationship together. But his lawyers have denied that he had any involvement in any arson. But remember that arson is a part of the racketeering charge that he's facing. So this is crucial testimony.
Which brings us back to Ye. What was the point of showing up to court, staying just long enough to be seen, and then walking out? Was it loyalty? Was it support? Or was it about protecting a connection that has not been fully exposed yet? Some believe Ye is trying to send a message that no matter what comes out in court, certain alliances still stand. Others believe he might be feeling the pressure himself. After all, his name was reportedly included in the list of celebrities shown to potential jurors before the trial began. That does not happen for no reason. Gene Deal warned us that there were quiet understandings between Diddy and other industry giants, unspoken agreements to keep certain things under wraps. Now, as Ye places himself at the center of this legal firestorm, those old warnings are starting to make sense.
People don't understand. I've been doing this since 1997, man. Since I sat down with Miss Wallace, Nick Bloomfield, A&E, MTV, VH1, they all got tapes and footage on me telling the same story, telling how Diddy was way back when. So the trolls can say what they want to say. I got people even saying that I started talking about Diddy when he went to jail. So you know that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, like my man say, you can't fix stupid, bro. Ain't nothing you can do to fix stupid. So let them be what they want to be, man. They all trying to get clicks and views, bro. That's all it's all about, man. That's all I'm trying to get, clicks and views. Let's get on with the show, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I heard Diddy almost got removed from the courtroom. What's the backstory behind that?
Yo, man, Diddy is, you know, I guess his mind is gone, bruh. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him like say stuff to the judge. You know, like, I want to go to break now. And the judge said, okay, we'll break. And I'm looking like, damn. So this time, but the judge, he took that upon himself, you know, but he didn't take it lightly when he went at the jury. Diddy looked at the jury in a way and just started nodding his head, like when a certain person was giving their testimony. So when he was doing that, the judge immediately stopped because it seemed like he was trying to either antagonize or he was trying to like throw some kind of sign or say something to the jury that the judge wasn't even going for, bruh. The judge stopped them right there. And he told he addressed to their lawyers, the next time Diddy make any kind of eye contact with the jury and does nod his head, yes, no, maybe, or anything, he'll be hearing about the trial from his jail cell because he will not be allowed back in court. The judge said next time. So he probably let Diddy get away with it to see how far he was going to do it. But then he said, nah, we're not having this. Because you got to realize the jury is not sequestered. They go home every day. And he's known for tampering with witnesses. If you go through the trial right today, you see how he was trying to tamper with some of the people by having security, D-Rock, and other people talk to them. They are saying that in their testimony.
But to truly understand why Gene's voice is so important, we have to look at where he came from. This was a man who did not just protect Diddy. He bled for him. He stood beside him through beefs, lawsuits, and shootouts. He was on the clock the night Biggie was killed. He said that what happened that night still haunts him to this day. Gene kept quiet for years. He stayed loyal, but eventually he realized silence was not strength, it was complicity. And when he finally started speaking, people tried to dismiss him. But now, as testimony after testimony seems to support parts of his story, more people are starting to listen. That is why Gene calling out Ye is not about clout or attention. It is about recognizing the signs. It is about trying to stop the next person from getting pulled into something they cannot control. Because once you are deep inside Diddy's world, as Gene says, you do not walk away without consequences.
Diddy was coming after her. And he made that clear to the jury that Diddy was coming after her. It was a lot of situations where Cassie was running from him. And he would use staff to try to find her, then go get her. It was times when Cassie didn't even want to go to the freak off. No means no. It was no telling him no. He would tell her, yo, I already spent this money. So you gonna do it. And this is the story that Deontay Nash was telling. And this was a dude who had love for Diddy, was calling Diddy. Even after him and Cassie broke up and Andre Harrell died, he called him for that. Then who else died? Somebody else died, and he called him on that. He was staying in touch with Diddy. Tell him, yo, if you need anything, let me know, brother. Diddy was upset with him. Diddy said, yo, bro, that was foul. You should have told me that she was effing the trainer. And that was Cassie's husband. You understand? You should have told him. So, you know, Diddy felt some kind of way with him on that one. But this dude, he was very convincing to the jury, and he was placing people like D-Rock, I think D-Rock and Paul, in situations whereas that they were using their protection status of Diddy to try to force people or bring people into those type of situations that were unlawful. And that's the freak-offs. That was buying drugs and holding the drugs and things like that. And that's what's threatening people's lives and stuff. Having people terrified of them.
And let's not forget, Gene's presence outside the courthouse made headlines too. A YouTuber reportedly tried to provoke him, calling him names and pushing his buttons. It nearly turned physical. Gene warned him once. When he pushed again, reports say things got heated. No arrests were made, but Gene was asked not to return to the courthouse for a few days.
The defense in the Sean Diddy Combs trial is finishing cross-examination of one of the rapper's ex-girlfriends. But first, the judge called a private meeting with the prosecution, defense, and lawyer for the woman testifying as Jane. Yesterday, defense attorneys tried to use Jane's own text messages to show she willingly took part in Combs' life and is not the victim of force or coercion. At one point, she cried so hard on the witness stand she couldn't even finish reading those texts. Now the prosecution says they expect to rest their case next week. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. ABC's Rena Roy and legal contributor, criminal defense attorney Shauna Lloyd are outside that courthouse. So Rena, what's the latest on this private meeting?
Well, Diane, we know that there were several issues discussed behind closed doors, and that one of them involved whether or not non-alleged victims who take the stand can use pseudonyms. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo argued that they should go on the record with their real name so that when someone hears about testimony who's outside of the trial and they might have information about that testimony, that they can come forward and offer to testify. And they were specifically discussing an issue from 2024 when Jane testified that she flew to Las Vegas with a friend of hers who's a famous rapper and then went to a hotel room where she saw a male escort named Anton having sex with a woman while that rapper and his girlfriend watched. She testified that that escort was somebody that she previously had a hotel night with along with Combs. The prosecution, though, wants to keep those pseudonyms, and they say that sufficient information about that event specifically and about Jane have been disclosed. Diane.
Shauna, what does this mean for the trial going forward?
What this means going forward is essentially the defense is lodging this idea. Trials are supposed to be public. They are open to everyone to come and see. And the reason historically has been so that information can be gotten from anyone who knows about it. Now, they're arguing that this is an infringement on Jane's privacy because these are people that she's connected to and events that she participated in. The defense is rebutting that, though. They want these names to be public because what they're saying is if there is some information out there that could either be used to impeach her or discredit some of the testimony that is being given, that they want those people to come forward.
So here we are. Ye showed up for Diddy in the middle of a trial that is exposing one of the darkest chapters in entertainment history. And Gene Deal, the man who warned us for years, is watching from the sidelines, watching his past become everyone else's present. The truth is, this story is far from over. But what is becoming clearer every day is that Gene Deal believes he tried to warn people. What do you think? Is Kanye West just showing support for an old friend, or is there more going on behind the scenes? Has Gene Deal been right all along? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and do not forget to like and subscribe for more content. Until then, fam, keep it real.